Janine, welcome to the Bob Rivers Show. How are you?
Hey, Bob. Good. How are you?
Okay, so you have this gift, or is it a skill?
I think it's a skill, actually. It's not something that I was born with. It's something that I've learned. I'm a natural anyway. I'm really visual, so it was a natural fit for me to get into body language and detecting deception.
And yet you did other things. You were a comedienne.
Yes.
You shared the stage with a lot of these comedians.
Yeah, Chris Rock, Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Robin Williams was one of my favorites.
And
really cool.
and at the time, were you into this at all as well, or was this another career for you?
Yeah, at the time I was actually working for a federal law enforcement agency and was doing some comedy on the side just for some fun. I was living in New York City at the time. I actually worked in the World Trade Center, and it was a lot of fun.
What's your best joke? On stage, what gets the best? I know it's hard to tell it in this sort of a setting.
Bob, I was kind of a blue comedian, so I don't know if my jokes would be appropriate for your show this morning.
Then perhaps you could substitute words like.
I'm not going near that.
All right, well,
Crank, donkey, shrimp cocktail, any word like this that maybe you use.
I will get one during the break.
Yeah, okay.
That'll be fine.
Give you one
We will want to make sure it's clean and sanitized for Kevin Martin's sake. Yeah. So to the whole idea of telling whether someone is being honest with you or deceiving you, boil it down. What's it all about?
Here's the deal. In order to detect deception, you need two things. A, the person has to have the intent to deceive. So two people can witness a car accident or shooting and give two completely different stories. Who's lying? Neither of them could be lying.
Neither of them are lying. They're saying it the way they think they remember it.
Right. The truth is what we believe to be true. That's number one. So in order to detect deception, there has to be intent to deceive. Number two, there has to be a consequence. So right now, if I put you in the hot seat and I ask you 3 questions and I tell you to lie about one, that's fine. I'll catch you, but there has to be a consequence.
What do you typically do to radio
You write
hosts?
$1,000 check to, the president of the United States.
Ooh, I don't want to do the president.
or any woman who might want to be president.
I would do something for a charity.
Okay.
But
it would have to be something against what you would want. See, the consequence has to be something you don't want to have happen.
Oh, you see, because that's the rub is I would be happy to contribute to World Vision.
Right.
But I would not want to give the president money. Not at this point.
Exactly.
Maybe there was a time when I might have considered it.
Right.
Or with the whole weapons of mass destruction thing.
Right.
In a practical sense, you go to a guy, okay, 3 questions. If I can't tell which one, waterboarding, kind of thing, right?
So you go, well, waterboard.
Okay.
A gentle waterboarding.
Speaking of which, by the way, when you look at politicians, can you spot an intent to deceive? And which presidential candidates would you like to warn us about?
Bob, there's no, you're funny. There is no hot list of you do these things or you say these things, you're lying. There is a list, and I'll share them with you today, about what to look for. I call them red flags, hot spots, they're called. So if you do this, it's a hot spot. Have I seen it with the candidates? Absolutely. All of them have had some hot spots.
Every politician has the intent to deceive.
Yeah.
So
at one time or another. Yeah. Otherwise, you could never get to that level of politics.
Well, the long and the short of it is when you think someone's lying, you see one of these hot spots, how to say something. So I have a 4-step formula on how to get someone to confess. Do you want to hear it?
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Step 1 is there any reason why? All right. So, Bob, you married?
Yes.
Have you ever cheated on your wife?
is step 2. The factor, Bob.
Is the delay a problem?
That's a hot spot there, Bob.
It depends on your definition of cheating.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay,
President.
Bill Clinton.
Thank you, I don't really know what you're trying to get to here.
He's lusted in his heart.
Yeah.
I've never had sexual
Jimmy
relations
Carter
with that
felt
woman.
bad about things, and they weren't all that bad. I'm kind of in the same boat as him.
So anytime there's an uncomfortable pause like that, if I ask you if you've ever cheated.
And by the way, it's the way you asked, too, how quickly you cornered someone. It is the skill of the questioner, isn't it?
It is.
You and Spike were talking about that with the lie detector tests.
Yes. With the lie detector, you know what? The polygraph and Spike, you said that you could beat them in a heartbeat, right?
I guarantee it. I've on several occasions lied flat through my teeth and passed with flying colors of a polygraph test.
Catch him now.
We had a listener call in just before you came on, and she said her mom wants her to divorce her husband she's separated from. The guy she suspects he cheated, but he's willing to take a lie detector test. And we said they're worthless. They're completely worthless.
Right. They are, absolutely. First of all, if she thinks he cheated, he probably did.
That's what I'm telling
Let's start there.
Yeah.
Did you hear the woman on just before you came on?
No, I was driving here from my hotel.
If she is listening, what was her name?
Gully something. Gully
Bill.
Gully Bill.
That's
her, that's her name.
If she is listening, her mom offered her $20,000 to divorce this guy.
Oh, well, she can give me $20,000 and I'll detect deception and tell her how to spot
Well,
him.
the guy gave money to a woman,
He worked with.
And said, no, I never cheated with her. I was just trying to help her out. And everyone says, no, he cheated with her.
Yeah.
He lied about giving her the money, too.
And he lied about and covered up giving her the money.
Quite frankly, I'd rather my husband just cheat with a girl than give anybody money.
Yeah, especially your money.
That's what I'm talking about.
You gave her money? Why didn't you just sleep with her?
If she wants to call back...
You're destroying our marriage.
If she wants to call back, we'll give her a shot. So,
but look, at the lie detector, the polygraph itself is useless. It's 50% accurate. You might as well take a coin and flip it and say guilty or not guilty. Right. The trick is...
That's why it's not admissible in court, though.
Well, there's probably a lot of reasons why, but the accuracy of it is just, it's all it measures is heart rate, sweat, perspiration. It measures stress. And oftentimes, I teach law enforcement. People come in and they already have stress because they're worried about being believed.
Right.
So you can come out as a negative, as a liar on a polygraph because you're worried about being believed. So it's useless. The trick is the polygrapher, the person who's asking you the questions. They're just like me. They're body language expert. They've trained in detecting deception. They notice, Bob, you self-touching yourself right now is a hot spot.
Well, that's a 24/7.
Again, it depends on your definition of touching yourself.
Don't think
it's
he's
a closed
enjoying
fist
it,
and it's on the left side of my thigh. It's not a big deal.
You're a lucky man.
A self-touch is anytime a piece of our body touches another piece. So you'll hear people...
Is that a sign of something?
Oh, yeah. We saw Martha Stewart going to and from court holding her wrist. It basically says, it's okay. I'll get through it. It's okay.
No
like
kidding.
patting a little dog. Anytime a piece of our body touches another piece, for instance, Spike, rubbing your neck as someone's talking to you. Women will oftentimes cover their throat. You'll ask me, hey, Janine, would you like to get together again? I'll grab my throat. Sure. We might do something like Bill Clinton did. I did not have sexual relations with that woman as he shook his head yes, up and down.
Yeah.
That's another
He shook his head yes while he was doing
I
it?
did not have sexual relations.
But I nailed her. But I
Nodding his head up.
Yeah,
He's basically saying yes. When there's incongruency with the verbal and the nonverbal, always believe the nonverbal. I say when Bill Clinton was nodding his head yes, he's basically saying, I'd like more sexual relations with them.
I did not have enough sexual relations with that woman.
Now, you point to good questioning as being the way you find out stuff, right?
Questioning and observation.
Observation of the results of your questioning.
Yes.
How did you learn this? Did you? Did you have a really bad boyfriend or something? Did you?
No, but my husband and 2-year-old son are doomed. They'll never get away with anything.
Poor kid.
And I've taught my husband some of these things, so I'm actually pretty doomed. I guess how it all started is I was a young kid. I was 4 years old. We were poor. We had one of those yellow station wagons that in the back seat had a hole that you could see the cement, like we were the Flintstones. And my father had a piece of wood over the hole, right? But if you lifted it up, you could see the ground. So we were poor kids. I was at a grocery store. I asked my mother for a pack of gum. As you can tell, my mouth doesn't stop moving. And my mother said, we can't afford the gum. We're poor. I went home. What happened? I went to the next door neighbor. I was 4 or 5 years old. My mom's unpacking the groceries. I go to the neighbor, say, listen, we're poor. Would you mind giving us some money to help my family? They give me $1. I think we can go to Disney World, build an in-ground pool, buy a condo in Aruba. I go into the kitchen, hand my mother this $1. And had you been there, you would have seen my mother mortified. She was totally mortified. She said, that's it. You've got to take the $1 back. We're not poor. What are you doing telling people like that? And it was at that moment that the Lyin Tamer, I think, was born. Because
you
I
realized,
decided, yeah, people deceive people, sometimes just for not to be mean. There's different reasons. And from that point forward, through high school, college, I was always fascinated with psychology, got a job with federal law enforcement, took classes there, and I've worked with some of the heavy hitters. There you go.
You bring out an interesting point with that. Not all deception is bad. And in this case, the deception was to try and protect you or nurture you in some way or lower your expectations, all sorts of different ways to deceive people. Are any deceptions something we should preserve? And like, for example, certain icons at certain holidays are very real until you reach a certain age. I don't want to mention any specific icons.
Yeah, I still believe in them because when I stop believing in them, then I stop getting the gifts. That's what my mother told me years ago. So I'm still believing.
But
people.
is some deception? And then there's another thing. Sometimes parents will make things seem scarier than they are to their kids. The evils of marijuana are sometimes exaggerated.
Well, my sister Kayleen tells her 7-year-old daughter that she can't drink soda because if she does, she won't be able to do cartwheels. And she goes, but Mom, you drink soda. And she goes, yeah, but have you ever seen my cartwheels?
She's true. Soda puts on 100 pounds. You ain't doing any cartwheels.